Congressman Tom Emmer with us of Minnesota, the House Majority Whip, House Financial Services Committee, a lot of other important roles, a key player for the Republicans there. You've got the majority there, Congressman. Very good to have you. But some of your fellow members have expressed concern, even though you won't vote yay or nay on these appointments. That's the Senate's job. Some of your fellow Republicans are even saying, at least when it comes to the Gates nomination, that's not going to go anywhere. Do you feel that's true?
Well, let's face it, Neil. Donald Trump was given a huge mandate by the American people a little bit more than a week ago to shake things up here in Washington, D.C., and there's no question that he's doing that. And when it comes to Matt Gaetz, let's keep in mind that Biden's Attorney General, Merrick Garland, prosecuted his political opponents and went after parents who were peacefully protesting at school board meetings. Look, again, Donald Trump shaking it up. Matt Gaetz, he's been a champion for the fundamental rights of all Americans in his years on the Judiciary Committee. He'll be a great AG.
He does look for people, that is, the president-elect, to shake things up. But are there others who could do that, as some of your colleagues have said, at the Justice Department, who don't carry the baggage that a Gaetz does?
Well, I don't know. People are going to draw different opinions, but this is Donald J. Trump's pick. This is not the Senate's pick. This is not the House's pick. This is not somebody you like or dislike. Donald J. Trump has tapped these people, and they are going to shake up Washington, D.C. It will not be business as usual under this next administration.
Meanwhile, the House itself has the unique role, and given your slim majority now, not like it was in the last go-round, but a lot of these tax cuts and trying to extend the Trump tax cuts that expire at the end of next year will start where you are, and will start actually with you. So I'm just wanting to get a sense of the timeline on that. I'm told that within the first 100 days, you hope to have at least the tax stuff resolved and a tax, a multi-year tax cut in place. Is that likely?
House Republicans are working pretty close with Donald Trump and his team. You should expect in the first 100 days that we're going to attack the southern border, make sure that our borders are secured, not just the southern border, but all borders. We're also going to get the economy moving again, as Donald Trump promised, for all Americans, not just those with means already. But the middle class and folks trying to climb that economic ladder. We're going to unleash American energy, Neil, and then we are going to extend the Trump tax cuts. And I don't care if we have 225, 222, or 218. As long as we have a Republican majority in the House, we are going to advance the Trump America First agenda.
But it is still close, to your point, Congress, and I am wondering, we had the famous speaker battles here. Do you envision anything like that this go-round? Does it look pretty clear that Mike Johnson will be speaker again, will survive all of this, that the intra-party fighting that was so rampant last go-round doesn't happen this go-round?
Our leadership team was just elected at our organizing conference this past week, Neil. I have no doubt that's the team that is going to lead us over the next 2 years, and we're going to be very successful.
All right. Now, Donald Trump has chosen a number of representatives, congressmen, women. Now, they have to have quick election replacements to get them in there. Does that worry you that could take some time?
Again, I trust the Trump team. It doesn't matter what our number is. As long as we have the majority, we'll be successful. We'll go with whatever that timing is in each state.
Congressman, also, you know the role that Vivek Ramaswamy and, of course, Elon Musk are going to have in, weeding out, wasteful spending and excessive spending, hope to cut $2 trillion in such spending by essentially showcasing their progress with the American people. But I noticed in that process, it does bypass Congress. They look at everything that you guys have been doing in the House and the Senate, both parties, and they weed out and cite some of these dramatic examples of waste and overspending. But again, these are non-cabinet positions that wield enormous power and influence. How do you feel about that?
It's an advisory board. I think, again, Donald Trump is thinking outside of the box, and he's saying, let's take these two incredibly successful and gifted human beings and let them put together a team of advisors and let him know and Congress know this is all the waste, fraud, and abuse that this government has been accumulating over the last 3 decades. It's time to address it. The American people have spoken. They said we want this taken care of, and Donald Trump is taking steps to make sure that happens.
The way he's going about it, they talk that $2 trillion figure. When they talk about that, Congressman, is that taking that $2 trillion out in the first year?
We'll see what the advisory board comes up with. But it's not just the advisory board that's working on this stuff, Neil. Members of the House, I can't speak for the Senate, have been working on this for the past several years. We just haven't been in a position to actually do this. So the good news is we already have a foundation built with our members that then can work directly with this advisory group to maybe supplement or enhance what's already been identified. But we're going to have to go at this very hard.
All right, $2 trillion, if you get to that, would wipe out their estimated $2 trillion, if not more, deficit for a year. Of course, that you still have the debt to deal with, but to address the debt and the $36 trillion of that, as you know better than anyone, Congressman, you do have to look at the bigger picture. There's only so much you can do with discretionary spending and the like. The real meat there, unfortunately or fortunately, as an opportunity maybe for looking at abuse and fraud and all that, are some of the entitlement programs that have their own fat on the bones and that they're not sustainable at the route they're going. And Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all at various times in the next decade could be running out of dough. And that you Republicans are going to try to come up with ideas working with Democrats to sort of assure that they can continue. Is that on your bingo card right now to get them in line?
Look, Neil, in order to get this thing attacked, this $36 trillion in debt, $36 trillion in debt. First, you got to stop the bleeding on an annual basis, which we just talked about. You're going to have a balanced budget. Second, it's not just a matter of reforming and right-sizing the size and scope of government and going after the waste, fraud, and abuse, but you have to put in pro-growth policies because obviously what Republicans believe is you can always grow the pie. And one of the greatest places that we can do that is through the new industry known as digital assets, whether that's crypto or it's other things having to do with the Internet. It is the next iteration of the Internet, which we saw what the first one did for this country and the world back in the 90s. We do all these things together, you can attack that debt very quickly.
So in other words, you grow your way out of it, as Bill Clinton did, working with Newt Gingrich. I think that's what you were referring to, sir.
Not exactly, Neil, not exactly, because they put a muzzle on the animal known as the federal government. And when that muzzle came off, it came back hungry as ever. Indeed. You are going to have to go after the actual structure of the federal government to right-size it, downsize it, make sure that it's efficient and that it's working for the American people, not for the bureaucrats here in Washington, D.C.
So a part of that structure are those entitlements. Are you saying, sir, that they are things that you're going to look at? Or everything?
Again, Neil, you want me to get out in front of where President Trump is? I'm not going to do that. President Trump's the leader of our party. He'll tell us what he wants. He's got the mandate from the American people, and we will perform.
All right, because he has said in the past when it comes to Social Security, don't touch it. Don't even think about it. In the past, he said that.
Yes, he has, but I'm just telling you, he is the leader of our party, and the American people spoke loud and clear. He increased Republican votes in 49 out of 50 states. It's unprecedented.
Okay. Well, watch what happens. Congressman, very good seeing you.